I'm scrolling on my Facebook page, feeling curious, attorney months. He's got the legal education, baby, yeah. He's the litigation expert. No one like the...
Okay. So, hello again sa ating mga viewers. Ito po yung Kuya sa Batas po, nagbabalik ulit. Dami kong ginagawa, dami kabisihan. But anyway, kukontinue pa rin po natin yung ating under the law, no? So, maraming salamat sa mga sumusuporta at saka sumusubaybay, okay? So, we'll try our best na makapag-come up po tayo ng mga napakagandang topics and also mga basic understanding at saka mga recent cases decided by the Supreme Court, okay? So, ang papag-usapan natin is Under the Law, Episode 70. Ano ba to, Sir Mox? So, accordingly sa Supreme Court, sabi nila, the Supreme Court has ruled that a violation of a procurement laws by public officers will not automatically result in a conviction under Republic Act Number 3019, also known as Anti-Graft Corrupt and also known as Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. It is required that all elements of graft be proven beyond reasonable doubt, not just the deficiency in the procurement process. So ano ba yan? Ano ba yung facts of the case? Actually, straightforward naman yung case, di ba? Pero let me give you a simple facts, okay? So ito is the facts of this case is actually the project for the drilling, no? It's a drilling project, no? It's a drilling project for two projects, which is the West 21 and the West 15. Alright. So, nangyari doon is about sa bidding. Ayan. Yung bidding na yon, ang nangyari is, although merong tatlo na bidders doon, pinili yung isang bidder doon na Hydrock, no? Hydrock. Pangalan niya Hydrock. Now, during that bidding, hindi na siya dumaan, hindi pa na-approve yung bidding na yon or notice of award or issue, binigyan pa sila ng budget para gawin yung drilling. Para sa yung drilling, this actually pertains to water, yung parang drilling wells para makakuha yung community ng enough supply of water, no, sa Davao. Alright, so the topic is it's actually an officials from the case is against some of the officials in the Davao City Water District. Alright, so pinakamalaking issue doon sa tatlo na yon na bidders, si Hydrock, one of the bidders, was chosen. Pero hindi na dumaan sa procurement laws under PD 1594. Please take note that 1594, ang bago na ruling law ngayon is RA 8194, the Government Procurement Reform Act. Alright? So let's just focus on PD 1594. So nandoon, according sa law doon, which is pag-usapan natin, is sabi, bago ka magkaroon ng, bago mamili ang isang government ng bidder, kailangan mo dumaan muna sa public bidding. At the same time, pag mapili na yung nagbid, pipili ka na doon sa nagbid or the bidder chosen must have accepted the notice of award and notice of issue. To this case, nangyari is the Hydrock, initiated by the petitioners, became the sole bidder without notice of award or issuance. And there was also no public bidding. Accordingly daw, invitation daw, yung tatlo pa yun. So, ang parang naging issue dito, dahil ba doon sa ginawa ng official na hindi na sinunod yung procurement laws under PD 1594, sila ba ay criminally liable under RA 3019, the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act? Alright, so let's move on. Pagkatapos na mag-file nila, ang sabi ng mga petitioner, sa sobrang tagal na doon yung cases daw, kasi parang umabot ata ng 8 years eh. So, dahil umabot na ng 8 years, they are arguing their right to speedy disposition, which is cited in the 1987 Constitution, at saka yung conviction daw nila under 3019 is proper kasi sabi nila bakit kami magiging corrupt, no? Bakit kami na-violate namin yung anti-graft and corrupt practices Act? Wala naman kami violate eh. Bakit pa naging criminally liable pa kami? Okay, so let us dissect all the laws and cases or jurisprudence decided by the Supreme Court here. Alright? So, una, take note na sinabi nila doon na matagal na po, 8 years na po in the making po na ginugulgol itong kaso na to. Ngayon, dahil 8 taon na, i-raise na namin yung aming constitutional rights under Bill of Rights Section 16 that all persons shall have the right to a speedy disposition of their cases before all judicial, quasi-judicial, or administrative bodies. Now, there are many cases decided by the Supreme Court na nagagamit to. Right? Pag ang isang kaso ay pending pa, no? Pending pa siya sa any judicial or sa quasi-judicial na po yun. Unahin mo natin, judicial, ano yan? Mga korte. It doesn't matter, MTC, RTC, Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, Supreme Court, and so on and so forth. Quasi-judicial naman, yung quasi-judicial, siguro, pwede natin sabihin natin yung NLRC, ayan, NIRC, ayan. So, quasi-judicial. Administrative bodies, so, of course, administrative bodies, bawat offices or government offices, meron silang mga administrative bodies. Pag matagal yung pag-usad ng isang kaso, pwedeng erase mo itong all persons shall have the right to a speedy disposition of their cases before all judicial, quasi-judicial, or administrative bodies. Napakalakas po nito na constitutional rights. Pero, because the right to speedy disposition of cases, although it's a constitutional right, there was one case decided by the Supreme Court na although constitutional right siya, hindi siya basta-basta na nagagrant. Because citing the case of Republic versus Sandigan Bayan, GR number, ito, February 2020, ponente by Justice Leonen, sabi niya, while the Constitution guarantees the right of the accused to speedy disposition of cases, this constitutional right is not a magical invocation which can be cunningly used by the accused for his or her advantage. This right is not a last line of remedy when accused find themselves on the losing end of the proceedings. The state's duty to prosecute cases is just as equally important and cannot be disregarded at the whim of the accused, especially when it appears that the alleged violation was raised as a mere afterthought. Ano ang ibig sabihin nitong case na to? You can only raise the right to speedy disposition, a constitutional right, within a reasonable time. Kung i-apply natin to sa case ngayon, yung petitioner ni-raise na to after 8 years. Again, although 8 years na po siya, matagal na niyang hindi ni-raise. Alright? So, it should be reasonable. Dapat, ang isang petitioner, or the accused, or the complainant, or any person, kung gusto niyang erase ang kanyang speedy disposition cases, it should be done at the earliest stage. Di porket na corner ka na, kailangan, saka muna yung gagamitin yung speedy disposition. You should also be reasonable. So, kailangan, palagi, na kung gusto mong erase ang inyong speedy disposition of cases under 1987 Constitution, make sure you do it within a reasonable time and at the earliest opportunity. Ayan, yun ang magandang word, earliest opportunity. Dito sa case na to, sa kanya ni-raise, nung after 8 years na wala na siyang ginawa. Alright? Wala na siyang ginawa. Iba naman, pag may ginawa siyang, let's say for example, ginawa na ni petitioner yung kanyang part, tapos inantay lang niya yung judgment ng court. So, it is the court's responsibility already. Or, the petitioner provided all the necessary steps on his part, pero yung adverse or the respondent did not act to it for many years. Pwede mong i-raise yung speedy disposition na yun, di ba? Pero, kung example, yung issue was stayed on your end and kailangan mong gawin. You have to do something in order for the court proceeding or the trial or the merits of the case proceeds, no? Tas saka sa'yo nakabinbin, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin ang speedy disposition of cases. Alright? So that is the Republic of Sandigan Bayan, a 2020 case. Napagano yan. Now, another one na gusto nating erase dito sa case na to. So, please take note na ang isang case, kung example, kung merong administrative case, it does not actually result to a criminal case. Bakit? Ang administrative case, ano ang kailangang ebidensya sa administrative case? Substantial evidence, di ba? How about criminal case? Proof beyond reasonable doubt. This is actually cited in the case of Pakyat versus Ombudsman Mindanao, a 2020 case. Sabi niya dito, specifically in cases where both an administrative case and a criminal case are filed against a public officer for the same act or omission, the court has consistently held that an absolution from an administrative case does not necessarily bar a criminal case from proceedings and vice versa. Of course, kasi although same act sila, different naman yung evidences na required, di ba? An offense, for an instance, may have been committed but the evidence adduced to prove liability failed to obtain the threshold required by law in one case. Substantial evidence in administrative case or proof beyond reasonable doubt in criminal cases which would have established that the actor is either administratively or criminally liable. For this reason, the parallel case should not be dismissed ipso facto without a showing that its own threshold of evidence has not been reached as well. So, if a person, same act, meron siyang criminal offense, same act yun. Liable siya administratively at saka criminally liable siya. Hindi ibig sabihin na kung liable siya sa administrative or administrative liable siya, criminal liable na siya. Because administrative liability needs a substantial evidence only. On the other hand, a criminal liability should have an evidence which is a guilt beyond or proof beyond reasonable doubt. The highest evidence, no? Na kailangan natin or proof of evidence. Alright? So yun naman yung pinag-usapan natin. Next, pag-usapan naman natin yung Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Ang isang bidding ba or related siya sa procurement. Ano ba yung procurement? So, of course, no, ang government kasi, pag meron silang project, they are mag-announce sila through public bidding na, oy, meron kaming project dito, may pera kami, at kung sino ang gustong magtrabaho nito, lumapit sa amin. Public bidding yon. So, pupunta dito yung mga bidders. So, of course, no, mamimili sila doon. Yung government mamimili doon. Government ang mamimili sila sino yung mura, sino yung maganda, sino nakapasa qualification, sino yung maganda yung background, sino yung mababa yung offer, yun. So, yun siya. After that, yun, magkakaroon na ng mga some other procedures. Like example, yung award, yung issuance, ayun, yung budget, ganon. So, if ever na binaypas mo yung ganong process, magiging liable ka ba under Section 3 letter E or paragraph E? So let's read. Okay? So this is actually if you're violating procurement proceedings under PD 5094 or pwede din RA 8194. Are you liable with this? So RA 3090 speaks of Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, Section 3, corrupt practices of public officers in addition to acts or omissions of public officers already penalized by existing law. The following shall constitute corrupt practices of any public officer and are hereby declared to be unlawful. So, letter E, causing any undue injury to any party, including the government, or giving any private party or any unwarranted benefits, advantage, or preference in the discharge of his official, administrative, or judicial functions through manifest partiality, evident bad faith, or gross inexcusable negligence. This provision shall apply to officers and employees of offices or government corporations charged with the grant of licenses or permits or other concessions. Ang sinasabi dito is yung official daw na kasi accordingly daw, yung complaint na yun, yung official daw ng Davao City Water District, sila daw parang niluto daw nila na si Hydroc ay bidder will be chosen, bypassing the laws or provisions under PD 5094, no? Yun yung nag-govern ngayon na law dito na hindi daw pinablik bidding, in-invite na lang daw yung si Hydroc at saka yung dalawa pa na bidder, tapos pinili naman siya at the end of the day, hindi pa naman na-awardan, na nagtrabaho na sila, binigyan pa sila ng budget. The Supreme Court stated that before liable ang isang accused under 1319, it should have to have this manifest partiality, meron siyang evident bad faith at gross inexcusable negligence. So, sabi dito, court's ruling dito, accordingly, jurisprudence has laid down the following elements to sustain a conviction under Section 3E. Number 1, the offender is a public officer discharging official, administrative, or judicial functions. Number 2, he or she acted with manifest partiality, evident bad faith, or gross inexcusable negligence, and in the discharge of functions, his or her action caused undue injury to any party, including the government, or gave any unwarranted benefits, advantage, or preferences. Let us define these three words, no? Or three offenses or acts, all right? So, again, same in the case, no? Sabi dito, there is a manifest partiality when there is a clear, notorious, or plain inclination or predilection to favor one side or person rather than other. Evident bad faith connotes not only bad judgment but also palpably and patently fraudulent and dishonest purpose to the moral obliquity or conscious wrongdoing for some perverse motive or ill will. From that word itself, there's an intent, right? There's an intent, purpose to do moral obliquity or conscious wrongdoing. Next, evident bad faith contemplates a state of mind affirmatively operating with furtive design or with some motive of self-interest or ill will or for ulterior purposes. Another intention na yun. Next, gross inexcusable negligence refers to negligence characterized by the want or of even the slightest care, acting or omitting to act in a situation where there is a duty to act, not inadvertently but willfully and intentionally with conscious indifference to consequences insofar as other persons may be affected. From the word itself, gross inexcusable negligence. So, meron bang liability, may liability ba ang ating mga petitioner? Ginawa ba nila yon na para i-single out si Hydroc para siya ngayon ang magiging standalone bidder dito sa two projects na sila ang magiging bidder at silang mabibigyan ng project? Bago ang lahat, let us talk about sinasite ng ating petitioner na hindi dapat kami liable under 1319 or Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Bakit? Kasi ang finalo nila is the Section 4. Now, look at that. Bidding. Construction projects shall generally be undertaken by contract after competitive public bidding. Yun yung contention muna ng mga complainant. After competitive public bidding. Now, merong exception to the rule. Ano yun? Ito yung contention ng ating petitioner. Projects may be undertaken by administration or force account or by negotiated contract only in exceptional cases where time is of the essence or where there is a lack of qualified bidders or contractors or where there is a conclusive evidence that greater economy and efficiency would be achieved through this arrangement. Doon pa lang, aralin na natin. Ano ba yung issue doon? Nag-invite sila ng mga drillers for that project because kung magpa-public bidding sila, kakaunti lang yung magpa-participate doon sa drilling project. No? That is first. Another one na ang contention is time is of the essence. No? Bakit time is of the essence? or there's a conclusive evidence that greater economy and efficiency would be achieved. That is water. Now, the petitioner believed that they need to act fast with this drilling project because this is relative and beneficial to the Davao City community because of the low pressure or no water at all. Yun yung sa kanila. Yun yung contention nila na wala kaming liability, wala kaming intention. Ang sa amin lang talaga is wala talagang magbibid. Kukunti lang ang mga driller bidders. At the same time, kailangan to bilisan kasi usapang tubig to eh. One of the amenities, one of the daily needs of every Filipino citizen, water. Ayan. So, hindi daw sila malaliable. Now, sabi ng Supreme Court, applying the case of Martel versus People, a 2021 case, ano ang magiging kasalanan ng ating petitioner? Sabi ng Supreme Court, applying the same to our case today, violation of procurement laws does not ipso facto give rise to violation of RA 1319. Ibig sabihin, kung mayroon failure of or meron ka nalabag sa procurement law, hindi basta-basta or diretsahan na makakasuhan ka ng Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Bakit? Thus, in order to successfully prosecute the accused under Section 3E of RA 1319 based on a violation of procurement laws, the prosecution cannot solely rely on the fact that a violation of procurement laws has been committed. The prosecution must prove beyond reasonable doubt that the violation of procurement laws caused undue injury to any party, including the government, or gave any private party unwarranted benefits, advantage, or preference, and the accused acted with evident bad faith, manifest partiality, or gross inexcusable negligence. In this case, these evidences were not proved. So that being said, they may only be administratively liable for the violation of procurement laws, but not a violation of RA 1319 or graft or Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Alright? So, yun po yung ating topics for today. So, maraming salamat sa mga nanonood. Hopefully, na marami kayong natutunan sa atin. Actually, napakaganda kasi mga cases na decided by the Supreme Court eh. So, anyway, tune in for more. Again, ito yung kuya nyo sa batas. Nagpapasalamat at nagsasabi sa inyo na mahalin nyo ang inyong asawa dahil sila po ang tunay na batas. Bye-bye!
I'm scrolling on my Facebook page, feeling curious, attorney months. He's got the legal education, baby, yeah. He's the litigation expert. No one like the back of my hand. You got a problem, he's the lawyer on demand. Check his post, they're full of legal advice. Learning about the law, it's like a rolling dice from contracts to torts. He's got it all covered. Attorney Marks, he's the legal expert, no other. I'm scrolling on my